The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners. The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour.
ChatGPT did become the world's most downloaded non-gaming app.
Literally the job of everyone in government to address the media and the public.
What are your thoughts, audience? What are your thoughts on Zandy Silva as the deputy PLP leader?
A community that can't feed itself is a community that,
What you may not know, though, is that Bermuda, we have a connection with Epstein, too.
Things that people are doing right, the youth are doing right, that is not being advertised enough.
When you see your access to US dollars disappear, that's when you have a problem.
If you've got a town in the UK with a similar sized population, this place absolutely outshines it.
It's Monday, the 18th, the day of May 2026. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. This is the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, HSBC Bermuda, Medical House Lenders, People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 1075 for ensuring we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. I'm Jamal Hartman. Happy Monday. How's everyone feeling today? Everyone good? Have a great weekend? Yeah. Okay. Yep. You are very talkative this morning. Yeah. We've got Chica Trot says happy Monday to the H family and a happy Monday to you, Chica Trot. Hopefully you all had a great weekend, man. I've got some things to say about my weekend, and yeah. Some good things, because you all probably think, oh, here goes Grumpy Jamal. No, some good things about this weekend. It was a very, very good weekend, and I'll get into some of that stuff. But no, hopefully you all are feeling good. We've got a good conversation coming up, so greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome former international business executive Catherine Duffy onto the show. We're going to be reflecting on her career and professional success. So really looking forward to the conversation with Mrs. Duffy today. The Daily Play is the keys to the past in partnership with Curb. So we have another clue for you today. Now, I must say, I knew you all were smart. I knew you all were very intelligent. But I didn't think you would get the answers in less than 4 hours. You all really, really have, shocked a lot of people by getting them. So I wish you all the best with today's clue. Stick around. We are giving prizes. So just want to give big love to Curb for even coming up with this idea during Heritage Month. And we'll be going for another few weeks. So make sure you stay tuned to the clue later on in the show. Keys to the past in partnership with Curb. In the meantime, folks, do not forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All righty, folks. We've got a conversation to have today. We do. And Charles H. Jeffs II, he says, morning, how was the book signing? I will get into that a bit later. But I want to have a conversation this morning. And I think we've spoken about something similar before. But I've only been back in Bermuda for about 48 hours, if that. And something stood out to me. Something that, in my opinion, takes away from the beauty that is Bermuda. And before anyone says I'm just being grumpy this morning, I honestly don't think I'm alone in this. See, over the years, we've seen more and more signs and advertisements and political posters and event promotions and corporate boards being stuck in the ground all across Bermuda. East Broadway seems to be a hot spot for them. Certain roundabouts, too. And honestly, it's starting to look cluttered. Now, I understand the purpose of advertising. I understand organizations, promoters, businesses, and political parties, they want visibility. But at some point, we also have to ask ourselves, what does this do to the overall appearance of Bermuda? Because one thing Bermuda has always had going for it is its natural beauty, the cleanliness, the scenery, the charm, the aesthetic. That's part of our identity. And when you start driving through areas with signs randomly planted all over the place, some faded, some leaning over, some left up long after events are finished, it starts to feel messy, cheap. And maybe that sounds harsh, but I don't think, or I do think, it's a conversation worth having. Especially because Bermuda has traditionally been very protective about appearance and planning standards. Think about it. We regulate building colors, we regulate architecture, we regulate signage in many other ways. So why does it feel like roadside advertising has become a free-for-all? Now, let me be fair. Some people say these signs are harmless. Some may argue that they help small businesses and event promoters get attention in an expensive advertising market. That may be a fair point, but there has to be a balance. Because if Bermuda is constantly branding itself as premium, beautiful, clean, and unique, shouldn't our public areas reflect that? Should there be stricter rules, designated advertising areas, time limits on signs being displayed? Or should these types of roadside advertisements simply be banned altogether? So this is this morning's question. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about all these signs and advertisements being stuck around Bermuda? Think on that. Think on that for a second, and we'll be back after this very short break.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Alrighty, folks, this is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Question of the morning: what are your thoughts on all these signs and advertisements being stuck around Bermuda? Like, it just looks tacky. It looks disgusting. It looks ridiculous. It doesn't look or feel like Bermuda. And some people may say, oh, Jamal, evolved. Times have changed. Times have changed doesn't mean we go backward. That's not a progressive move to me. It's really not. No, Nachika Trot says, I believe the government did a survey and have recently placed signs up to not advertise in certain locations. They did a survey. I completed that survey. This is not what I'm talking about. That survey to me was representing the signs outside T Street. It was representing the signs up on the Paget stoplights. This, I'm specifically talking about people digging those things in the ground that makes Bermuda look trashy. Call me Grumpy Jamal, but it looks trashy. It takes away from Bermuda. It's not Bermuda. And I'm sorry to see corporation like international business companies sponsoring something and putting their name out there. It's cheap. I'm sorry. It's disgusting. It doesn't fit. Miss Ellen Kate Horton says, I agree with you, Jamel. Shanette Sumner says, this has been an ongoing discussion for big sheet-like banners posted on walls such as Paget stoplights and TCD. They're unsightly but free advertising for promoters. She said she meant T Street, not TCD. But I'm not even talking about the big banners. I'm specifically talking about those ones you stick in the ground. We had the conversation about the big banners, T Street, down at the Paget stoplights. There's a difference to me. Now, we already know how I feel about those ones. I think those are bad. And I think that, I filled out that survey. I think the minister was Diallo Urban, came on, we discussed it as well. I'm specifically talking about those little ones you stick in the ground. They're back to back to back to back to back along the road. They're stupid. They're ridiculous. And, if my memory serves me correctly, political parties were doing it as well. So how could we expect the very people responsible for passing legislation and policy to actually get rid of something that they believe they're benefiting from? Folks, I live in Billboard Nation. We don't want to be trashy. It's disgusting. And, Chica Trot says they are called yard signs. Think about that. Yard signs. Yard. They're not being placed in people's yards. They're being placed in public roadways, audience. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yep, I know. Grumpy Monday, but I'm telling you, it looks ridiculous. Dr. Anthony Richardson says Bermuda is copying what they see in the U.S. It looks trashy. From a Bermuda perspective, the government seemingly having no interest in enforcing our signage laws. And I'm glad you brought up that, because I was going to ask the question, is it a matter of following law? It is, or is it enforcement? Is it enforcement? Let's give a poll today. Here's the poll. Do you think advertising signs should be banned? 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for depends. Someone brought to my attention this weekend, said, but Jamel, it's not even only that, it's a distraction to drivers. Now, I can't really get down for that. And I'll tell you why, because I drive every day pretty much. Well, I'm cheap, gas is high, but I drive pretty often in the United States. I've never been distracted by a billboard. I don't pay attention to them. Honestly, we have a responsibility and a duty to be responsible on the roads, right? But I've never personally been distracted. I don't think that would be, I understand the reasoning. Everyone's not me. We're all different. So I understand that could be a concern. It's not mine. My concern is the way it looks, such a pristine place like Bermuda look. Bermuda is too beautiful, audience. It really, when I worked in tourism, and I would bring, travel professionals and executives down for familiarization trips, right? They would always say, they would compare Bermuda to other destinations. Oh, Bermuda's just so beautiful compared to da-da-da-da-da, and, it's kept so clean. I don't think they'll be saying the same things with that. I just don't. We've got to do better. It takes away from our beauty. So again, audience, what are your thoughts on all these signs and advertisements being stuck around Bermuda? I mean, I'm fair game if y'all disagree. You may say, look, I have a small business. I need to, find ways to get my business out there. That's fair. That's fair. I don't agree, but that's fair. And the poll question of the morning, do you think advertising signs should be banned? Do you think advertising signs should be banned? 1 for yes, 2 for no, and 3 for depends. And if you put depends, just share, like, depends on what? We'd love to know. Let's have a conversation. We've got Sean Sumner says, I agree. The ground posters do look trashy, and they are also a distraction to road users. Yep, I was told that this weekend about the distractions. We've got Suzanne Ingham says, good morning, Jamel. Wi-Fi issues this morning already, but I'm thankful for you in TDH's house. It was a pleasure and honor to meet you yesterday. Grateful for you, Jamel. It was a pleasure and an honor to meet you, and I am grateful for you and I can't thank you enough for your support. So thank you, Suzanne. You are a true version of putting your money where your mouth is. So thank you. More people like you in our community, things will definitely be better. We've got, she says, and as for the signs, I'm sick of them. They are a big distraction when driving. Yeah. I mean, again, we're all different. I don't look at billboards, I'm focused, but yeah, if it's something that Bermudians are not used to and you see a sign, and someone said that usually they're so small, so people will have them in order saying, so you're reading each sign. And if someone's doing that, I mean, it's not safe. Charles H. Jeffers II says, honestly, I don't like it. But when political parties do it, it's hard to stop others. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Bermuda used to be another world, but we're not anymore. And that's the thing. It's like we cannot expect for the political parties to do anything about it if they see the benefit of doing it when they need it, right? Shonette Sumner says, I think the billboards are a bit different. Our eyes are focused upward as opposed to the sign stock on the ground. We looked lower and down to the side. Fair. That's a fair point. I think what we have to keep in mind is billboards, while you're going faster, there's more space. Bermuda is so small. There's not room for error. On our roads, there's not. We've got Suzanne Ingham says those signs are very tacky looking. I don't like them at all. Dr. Anthony Richardson says, depends on whether or not they're regulated and posted and taken down within a time period. Also depends on public safety and perspective. I get you. I again got off the airplane and I've seen them. And it's not Bermuda. It just doesn't feel like Bermuda. It feels, again, you all may say, oh, Jamal, you're old. You come up with the times. You need to evolve. Stop being grumpy. And let me share this part, right? Because you may say, well, Jamal, you sell advertising. You may have personal. Honestly, it has nothing to do with that. I have businesses that I would, need to advertise. I would not do that because my business is, I want them to reflect our culture. That's not our culture. That's not who we are. That's not who we should want to be. If nothing else, Bermuda's natural beauty is what sets it apart. Why take away from that? And if you're just tuning in, I'm being grumpy this morning. I'm talking about Bermuda's natural beauty being one of our greatest assets. And now we've got these political signs, event advertisements, promotional boards stuck in the ground, and they're becoming more common. East Broadway, riding through there the last 2 days, it felt cluttered. It felt disgusting. It felt trashy. Some people see them as harmless. But others, like myself, see them as cheap. And considering Bermuda has long prided itself on strict planning and aesthetic standards, it makes you wonder, how did we get here? We have to ask the question, folks. Where's the line between promotion and visual pollution? Nachika Trot says they're yard signs. So should public spaces look cleaner or more regulated when it comes to yard signs? We cannot market Bermuda as premium and beautiful and then have roadside advertising that doesn't reflect it. I'm fine with designated advertising zones and enforcement and size limitations. But we have to make sure that whatever we do enhances our culture and our community, not takes away from it. It doesn't look good. And again, you may disagree. That's fine. I don't think it looks good. Suzanne Ingham says, I almost had an accident on East Broadway going into town trying to read them and had no clue what they said. They're just a distraction and definitely not our way of life. Why do we continue to follow other countries' ways, losing our own ways and cultures? Away with them all. Dr. Anthony Richardson says, consider electronic billboards. Pay a fee to have items advertised within designated zones. Yeah, I think that's what the government was trying to move toward, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what they were doing. All right, let's see the poll. So do you think advertising signs should be banned? We've got 33% yes, 17% no, and 50% says depends. All right. Here's the thing. I don't like necessarily regulation if it's not, causing harm. Now, it's a matter of whether we think this causes harm. I don't think there's any statistics to say this has caused any harm, although people say they could be dangerous. I would rather people make good decisions for the benefit of Bermuda. The signs do not look good. East Broadway looks like a dump. It looks like a dump. And if that sounds harsh, I apologize. But it doesn't look good. I will reach out to the minister, Diallo Rebane, to find out what's the latest. I know we did the survey, but what's next? It looks bad for Bermuda. And even those who may agree with it have got to admit, if we're going to do it, it has to be done as maybe some, like Dr. Anthony Richardson suggested, electronic billboards. Shawnette Sumner said, put them up high rather than low. Ensure that they're not taken away from our beauty and putting people in harm's way. I'll go through this final comment. Ms. Ellen K. Horton says, as we speak of things that destroy our natural beauty, I'm also disgusted by oversized buildings, especially the one that blocks out the cathedral. I think that's that new building. She says, I agree with you wholeheartedly. They are tacky, folks. This was your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. If you appreciated this discussion, make sure you give us a thumbs up, a love, a like, and share a conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. I'm sure they want to be in on this. We're going to give thanks to Titan Express and Secure. Then we'll give you your Bermudian icon for the day. Then I've got a days of the year for you. Then we'll take our commercial break. And then we have our very special guest. And it's not the first time we've had Mrs. Catherine Duffy on the show, but definitely it's been a while. So really looking forward to having her after the commercial break. But let's give some love to Titan Express and Secure.
The Daily Discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Titan Express delivers safe, professional, and reliable transportation and tours across the island. From island tours to cultural experiences, they set the standard. And Secure is your go-to for property management, waste management, and residential and commercial services. Visit securebda.com. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is their commitment to you.
Alrighty, folks. Well, let's see what we've got for Bermudian Icon today. And we've had some fantastic people, including today's guest. Let's go over to Bermudian Icons, brought to you by ZipX.
Welcome to TDH's Bermudian Icon series, brought to you by the great folks at ZipX. There are a few voices in Bermuda you don't need to see. You just recognize them. Glenn Jones is one of those voices, and quietly, he's become one of Bermuda's most enduring media figures. For many years, Glenn was a constant in Bermudian broadcasting, most notably through his work with Inter-Island Communications, where he helped shape how the country understands its news. Calm, precise, incredible. His delivery set a standard in a space where trust is everything. He also served as one of the government's primary public messengers, operating at the highest levels in that space during critical moments. But what's often overlooked is just how far his career is extended. He's working on air in Boston, one of the largest and most competitive media markets in the U.S., where he earned an Emmy Award for his work in broadcast journalism. That's a level of recognition very few Bermudians in media have reached, and it speaks to the quality and consistency that he's carried throughout his career. And while that success may not come with major headlines, it really should, because Glenn Jones represents something Bermuda doesn't always stop to recognize: sustained excellence across borders over decades. Put simply, Glenn is an unsung Bermudian icon, and we are grateful for his presence, his work, for him. And that's today's Bermudian Icon series, brought to you by the great folks at Setbacks. Now back to the show.
All righty, big up to Glenn Jones, doing his thing, done his thing, and love to see it. Honestly, Glenn is in a space where that he loves, in a space that he loves to be. So, love to see it. Love to see it. Probably not celebrated enough. And I think he was just announced as the commencement speaker of his alma mater, Williston, I think it's called, up in Massachusetts. So, alrighty, folks, let me give you your days of the year. So, folks, it's National Visit Your Relatives Day. It's Send an Electronic Greeting Card Day. It's National No Dirty Dishes Day. It's International Museum Day. Now, I want to go with museum, but I also want to know, because I want to just get in your pockets and your business this morning. Folks, in the interest of Dirty Dishes Day, this question is a debate that I have with Bermudians often. Dishwasher or hand wash? How do you prefer to wash your dishes? Do you prefer a dishwasher, or do you prefer to wash your dishes by hand? Now, I'm just going to tell you, I rinse my dishes and then I put them in the dishwasher. But I can't believe that so many Bermudians I speak to refuse to use dishwashers. I'm like, the dishwashers saves time. Look, the dishwasher is like AI, right? It does the work for you. So I'm going to go with dishwasher, but I don't just put dirty dishes in the dishwasher. I rinse them first. But where do you stand, folks? Dishwasher, or do you wash by hand? Traveling Trotty says dishwasher. Okay. We've got Shawnette Sumner says hand washing and no dirty dishes to be left in the sink overnight. Oh, that's a big one. We don't want those, unwanted guests, so that we can't leave dishes in the sink overnight. We've got dishwasher if I had one, says Polly Rich. We've got Dr. Anthony Richardson says dishwasher if I'm in a rush, otherwise by hand. We've got Suzanne Ingham says hand wash, only dishwasher. I own my two hands, God given. He got Renee Sherlin says both, rinse them off and dishwash. That's what I do. That's what I do. Hand wash, says Ageless Wonder. We've got Nicole Walker says hate washing dishes, so dishwasher. We've got dishwasher Karen Edward Simmons. We've got dishwasher Anthony Tanek. Dorian says if you have to rinse them, it makes sense to hand wash. No, you turn the water on, you just put them over water and put them in the dishwasher. To wash them takes scrubbing and stuff. That's not the same. That's absolutely not the same. Charles H. Jefferson II says I do the same. I rinse the dishes and then put them in the dishwasher. My wife I'm glad that cut off. I'm not getting into domestics. Nope. Oh, okay. He says his wife washes by hand. Okay. Oof. I don't want to get into those domestics, folks. All right, audience. We have a very special guest coming up, so please do not go anywhere. All right. Make sure you share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. We've got Mrs. Catherine Duffy in about 3 minutes, 17 seconds. Stick with us.
Take a look at our workbook for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places, and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Paired with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast. saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
What lasts isn't what you buy, but what it becomes. With the HSBC MasterCard credit card, every spend quietly adds to a story shaped by intention and offers what matters most. Support that meets you where you are. Protection that preserves what you choose. Confidence for the unexpected. Peace of mind wherever your story leads. Start your next chapter. Use your card today. HSBC is licensed to conduct banking and investment business by the Bermuda Monetary Authority.
What if the age that really matters isn't the one on your ID? You probably know your chronological age, the number of candles on your last birthday cake. But there's another kind of age that may be even more important, your biological age. This reflects how old your body truly is at the cellular level. It is influenced by your genes, your environment, and the choices you make every day. Two people can both be 40 years old on paper, but one may have the body of a healthy 30-year-old, while the other is biologically closer to 50. The difference? Lifestyle choices on nutrition, sleep, stress, exercise, and exposure to toxins. That means you have some control over your biological clock, and that's exactly what makes it so powerful. Because when it comes to aging, it's not just about living longer, it's about living better. Want to know your predicted biological age today? Download the free Carrier Genetics app and fill in the lifestyle questionnaire.
I know you want to come get some. Playing around, playing around. I got this too. I got it, no doubt.
All right, greetings everyone, and welcome back to the big show. Jamel Hartman here. This is the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, HSBC, Bermuda Medical House, Lindo's People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 1075 for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. Folks, do not forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right, before we bring our guest in, I just want to say something. I am thankful. I am filled with gratitude to everyone who came out yesterday. I cannot repeat what was said to me by a staff member at People's Pharmacy yesterday. But I will say this much. She said that they had not seen any local person sell a book like that. And that's because of you all. You know, I got to send a lot of love to Keitha and Tiffany Durham. They're the ones who put that book together, a compilation of, affirmations, quotes that I've either said or shared over the years. Some things were very personal for me. But to everyone who came out yesterday and purchased the book, some of you came before 12. Suzanne Ingham, my colleagues, Teo and Ms. Alan Kate Horton, Karen Simmons, Nicole Walker, Angeline Butler, some people I met for the first time who have only listened and didn't know what I looked like. I think it was Sudal. I think I didn't get a last name. Sudal, we've got Donna, it was Judith Rayner. It was so many people that came out, and you just never know who's listening. I think Marletha, you bought the most books for different people as gifts. And so I probably shouldn't have said that because I'm telling people what they might get for certain days. But I just want to let you all know I am grateful for the support. And I really hope that at least, if nothing else, one of those quotes or affirmations you can relate to. And those words can do for you what they've done for me over the years. All right. So again, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm not sure if Peoples has any left, but if you're interested, they'll probably have more upon request. So thank you once again for your support. Again, filled with gratitude. And I look forward to you supporting the next two books in this series that they will release. All right. Now, I am excited about this conversation today. You cannot have a conversation about the international business sector without hearing the name Catherine Duffy. You may not know anything about her, but you do know the name. Young women who enter this space absolutely adore what the pathway that she had created for some of them. And so I feel honored that she will make time to come on this show and engage all of us to speak, reflect on her career and speak about her journey. So let's give a warm TDH welcome to our very special guest for the day, Mrs. Catherine Duffy. Greetings, madam. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. I am wonderful. How's everyone this morning?
Well, apparently I was a bit grumpy earlier this morning speaking about our topic, but it's Monday. I love Mondays. So hopefully everyone is doing well. Everyone's doing well. I think you've got some fans out in the audience. You've got some fans. So they're happy to see you this morning.
I see my sorority sisters have just posted some hearts there. Good morning to you all.
Absolutely. I want to ask, before we jump into the meat of the conversation today, I did ask the audience, and I think it's National Wash Dishes Day.
Yes.
Are you a dishwasher or by hand person?
It depends. It depends. Okay. When our children are at home and it's a lot of people, we use the dishwasher. But when it's just my husband and I, we wash by hand.
Okay. All right. It's based on volume in the Duffy household. All right.
Yes.
We got you.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for doing this, as mentioned. So many people, when, as I mentioned, they talk about IB, young people just getting in, your name pops up. You can't speak about women in this space without hearing about Miss Catherine Duffy. When you reflect on your career, your journey in the IB sector, what moments stand out as the most defining, both the highs and some of the challenges that you faced?
I also want to add that I'm hoping some males feel the same way about the road that I've paved for them. My highs and lows, I've been in this industry for 40 plus years. And if it wasn't for a guidance counselor at Barclay Institute who introduced me to a woman called Catherine Lord, who is still my mentor today, when I was 17, I would not be where I am today. So number one, I would say, is finding people that advocate for you and care about you regardless of your station in life. And that's something that I've carried with me. So opening the door for me to opportunities that I didn't even know existed. And it was from there that I went to Howard University to study insurance in 1980. So I'm one of those insurance nerds. But I absolutely love the insurance industry because what people don't realize is that insurance underpins everything that we do in our lives. Companies have to be insured. And so with Bermuda in particular, we get the opportunity to learn about major corporations all around the world because that's who comes to get insurance from us. And we learn about the interconnectedness of everything because when a company shuts down, or let's say there's a hurricane somewhere and a port is shut down, we can see the impact of that, how it touches so many aspects because we are a global community. And just learning about the the impact that this little 21 square mile island has on the global stability of our economy, it's amazing, just unbelievable. And I had people like Bob Cooney and Brian O'Hara who allowed me to really, really spread my wings and understand how the industry works. So the highs and lows are just being there at the beginning, having to go to the UK and try to market Bermuda. And they used to laugh at us. They thought that Excel was Exxon, say that we were going to be fly by night, and that was 1988. And now there's very fly by night. People have set up companies here in Bermuda. So everything happens in its time, every single thing.
Indeed. And I'm glad you said something. You were an insurance nerd, because people think that people only go into this space because of money. They think it's boring, it's this, it's that. When did you first realize you were an insurance nerd? Like, this is somewhere you wanted to be?
Oh, no, it was not somewhere I wanted to be. Everybody does fall into insurance because, well, not now, actually, but back in the day when I went into insurance, as a 17-year-old Bermudian who grew up in a very limited way, I didn't even know that the buildings in town had businesses in them. I went to town to go to the movies. I had no idea that there was international business in Bermuda until I was introduced to Kathy Lord, and I go into these buildings and I discover a whole new world where people are dressed fabulously. And, you know, it's like a completely different world from the world that I existed in. And then getting into the industry, it was actually when I came back to Bermuda in 1988 that my eyes were really opened to what insurance means, because I did get my underwriting training in the United States. But when you are in the United States and you're just beginning, you're a number. So you don't really see how things connect. But when you come to Bermuda, particularly, I was employee number 14 at Excel. So we were all working side by side together. And the more I started to insure like the larger corporations, the energy companies, the pharmaceutical companies. So I started to really see that it wasn't just the company that we were insuring, but we were insuring the geopolitics of the places that they were in, their global supply chain. So you had to understand much more than just that submission that came in. You had to get the big picture. That's what I learned, because the clients really started to look forward to meeting with me, because I would challenge them and make them think as well. So that's when I became the insurance nerd, because I recognized that insurance is so much greater than what people think it is. Most people think is you're just insuring your house or your bike, or because when I first came back home in 1988 and I told people that I was going to work for an insurance company, they thought it was BF&M, because that's all that people were exposed to. And they thought worse than that. They thought I was going to be like a person that went door to door selling life insurance. But because of the platform that those of us that were in the industry early on have built, it's now sexy to be in the insurance industry, because most people are driven by the money. I will agree with that. But if that's all that drives you, you will be bored, because you have to have a passion for it, and you have to be able to see how interrelated we are in order to understand how much more the insurance industry actually means and how it makes us grow and recognize that we do really need each other, because there is that very human side to what we do in the insurance industry.
Indeed. And for those tuned in on the radio, we're speaking with Catherine Duffy, insurance executive. I'll get to the questions from the audience. If you have any questions or comments, you can send them through. We'll get to them in a bit. Let's transition, speak about leadership in particular. Leadership at the highest level can be demanding and isolating at times. What did it take mentally and emotionally to navigate those spaces successfully for you?
Well, most people think that leadership is a place that you arrive at and then you're there forever. But leadership is actually a journey, and it's something that you acquire, lose, acquire, lose. Just like anything else, leadership comes in cycles. And definitely being a Black woman in the insurance industry, I was rare. I was the only Black woman that ran a P&L, which is a profit and loss company. I was the first woman to run AIG in Bermuda. And it turned out that I was the only Black woman, particularly in the United States and the UK, don't know about Africa, that ran a P&L. So that made me quite unusual. So I was often sought out to speak and to help people to step, as particularly Black people that were rising. So leadership can be lonely, particularly when you are an only and you have to show up in environments where maybe sometimes people don't want you. But the thing I tell people all the time, that I would much rather be underestimated than overestimated. And that is a skill set that when you are the only, that people overlook. Because when you are underestimated, you know that you have to be over-prepared. You have to understand how everything works, not everything, but be ready to go in with as much tools as possible. Because if you speak one word or one piece of jargon or answer one question, everyone is blown away by you because they're not expecting it from you. But when you're overestimated, you can disappoint. When you're underestimated, you prove yourself constantly. So leadership also is being open to learning and to recognizing that you should not be the person in the room that has all the answers. You should have a team that can help everyone to answer a question, because we all have our strengths and weaknesses. Many people believe that leaders are meant to know it all, be it all, when in fact, I consider leadership to be like conducting an orchestra where everybody has a role and everybody is going to be a follower and a leader at some point during our careers and at different points during the day. So have humility and be willing to continuously learn.
That can be said in so many different spaces, but we're going to keep it focused this morning. You mentioned something earlier that's made me shift here. As a Black woman in international business, how important has representation been, and what barriers do you believe still exist for many professionals in the space today?
Are we talking about Black women or Black people or people in general?
I'm going to say Black people, period,
Okay.
and women, yeah.
Well, right now, we are actually going back to a place that is somewhat unnerving. The current president of the United States has decided that DEI is an offense. It is discriminatory to anyone that is white. So all of that has been rolled back. And unfortunately, I do believe that after George Floyd, when we were all at home with COVID, it went to one extreme. So now there are people out there that feel that they've been discriminated against. So there are over 350,000 Black women that have lost their job in 2025 in the United States. Don't know how large that number is globally, but people tend to copy what the United States does. And what people don't recognize is DEI is not just for Black people. The people that have benefited the most from DEI happen to be white women. So the backlash that's coming from saying that DEI is actually unlawful is creating backlash that people did not even anticipate, because you're now seeing people that are in the LGBTQ area, you're seeing white women, you're seeing anyone that's not white being impacted by these DEI rollbacks. So, I always go back to history because everything comes in cycles. And I often remind myself when I'm feeling like, what do we do? I go back to John Lewis, who was a US representative who died and was a part of the movement with Dr. Martin Luther King. And he never says, this is too much. And I'm just going to read something because I always keep him by me to motivate myself. And he says, I've got to go on and see what the end's going to be. I have to go get out there and push and pull to try to make things better for a generation yet unborn. And sometimes you have to fight some of the old battles over and over again for the next generation. You too can make a contribution, and you must. And that is like one of my mottos, that even because I was pushed out of AIG in September of 2024, and some people would have made some people crumble. But for me, I feel like you're always being directed or redirected by the universe when that part of your life has come to an end and you have to move to the next part of your life. Because when you're constantly moving forward, sometimes you will you will become too comfortable and stay somewhere that you no longer are making the difference. So for me, moving forward is I'm going to start the insurance program at the Bermuda College in August, because I get so sick of people saying that there is not enough talent in Bermuda. So people like me who have seen what it takes, who are not afraid to stand up, have to then give back at some point. So that's what I'm getting ready to do, because if I don't do it and people like me don't do it, who will? And some people say, well, it's not the right time. When is ever the right time? Or I don't have the experience. I've had so many wise people in my career, and one that I remember was a man called Joe Wiedemann, who said, never say you're never ready for anything, because you never know until you get into that role what you're capable of. No one is fully ready to do anything until they do it. So from a Black woman perspective, I know that I am a person that is setting or paving the way for others. And I take that very seriously. And I don't run from it.
And saying that, what advice would you give to young Bermudians, especially women and Black professionals who are entering or considering careers in the IB sector?
Keep your eyes open. Be willing to listen. Find people that will be your allies. Watch people. In my career, when I first started, I used to watch a lot of people, particularly people that I admired, and I would copy a lot of the things that they did, because I didn't have the role models as prevalent as there are today. And don't just model yourself after one person, because we have so many different aspects of ourselves that you have to find people from all across, not just in your industry either, people all across the world, different genres, different age groups. I love the fact that I have young children, well, in their 20s, and they keep me pretty much up to date. I love the fact that I have Kathy Lord, who's in her late 70s, my mother-in-law, who's 99. I have so many people that I use as guideposts for me so that I can navigate through many different situations, because that's what we're doing constantly. We're navigating through different situations so that we could grow, so that we can learn, and so that we can continue to contribute versus taking. So just be open, be willing to learn. Don't be afraid to say, I don't know. It's better to say, I don't know, than pretend that you do. And then it emerges that you have no idea. And then people will lose trust and faith in you. People much prefer people who are not afraid to say, I don't know, can you help? And to show gratitude as well.
Indeed. Audience, if you have any questions or comments for Ms. Kathy Duffy, you can send them through. We do have one from Charles H. Jefferson II. He says, good morning, Kathy. We have heard that most of our IB professionals are advised to stay out of politics. Now that you are no longer in the industry, do you have plans to serve Bermuda in that way? Oh my, he's put you on the spot.
No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. But thank you for that question, and good morning to you. I thought long and hard about getting into politics, and I was investigating it for the longest time. I don't have the stomach for that. So it is not something that I would be willing to do. But I am going to serve Bermuda by going to the Bermuda College. Politics is not the only way that you can serve the country. For me, I'm more of a person that likes to teach, that likes to learn, that likes to be in situations where I'm challenged and I challenge others. But I thought at one point that politics was the only way to serve, but there are many, many ways to serve. And my service will be starting the insurance program at the Bermuda College.
I agree. Something that the last time you were on, Mr. Simmons, Craig Simmons, who is probably one of the most frequent guests on this program, he mentioned, and he with the biggest smile on his face, about a book you had written, and it was said it's no longer production. Let's talk about that a bit. What made you write the book, and has it, since that show, we're talking 4 years ago, is it back in production? Will it be back in production? How can someone get their hands on it? And what was it about?
Well, I dropped out of the insurance industry at the height of my career in 1999 when I became a mother, had my son. And at the time, I started to write for the newspaper. The first paper was the Bermuda Sun. I wrote a spiritual column. And then I started to write an insurance column for the Royal Gazette. And much to my surprise, people used to really wait for that insurance column to come out. I even had analysts from around the world that used to send me messages asking me for my predictions. And so as a result of that, I was asked to write a book about the history of international insurance in Bermuda by Brian Hall. And I naively thought that there was something already out there, like some sort of history. Come to find out, there was nothing at all. I was only paid for a year to write the book. I didn't make any money from the book whatsoever. But it ended up taking me 3 years to write the book. I interviewed over 100 people, and I was flying back and forth to New York sitting on the floor of Business Insurance magazine because they were the only people that kept a history that wrote about Bermuda from the 60s. So I was sitting on their floor because nothing was indexed. So I had to physically go through every magazine to find anything that was there on Bermuda. And it was actually, that was a pivotal part of my career, if I think about it. Even though I was out at the time, it actually made me recognize that every 10 years, there's something that happens in the world, like either in the 70s when there was offshore drilling for the first time in the North Sea. In the 80s, there was product issues. And so Bermuda ended up responding every 10 years to what was happening in the world. And that was a pattern that I determined from that book. And it was that book also, and the research and speaking to people, that made me understand just how interconnected everything really is. So the book, some people thought it was boring. Some people thought that it could have been shorter. But once I started writing the book, I realized that it had to be almost like a textbook sort of foundation book with original sources to allow somebody else, if they wanted, to then write a book using the sources that were there, because there was no source material whatsoever for the history of international insurance in Bermuda. And that's why I completely changed the structure of the book to make it a book that would always be around for people to use if they're trying to determine how we started as an insurance center in the world. And interestingly enough, it's got more legs now than it did. And that book was written when I was pregnant with my daughter. So my daughter would be 23 in a couple of weeks. And I went into the hospital to give birth to her on the Thursday, was out on the Saturday morning, and she spent probably the next 2 months on my lap as I tried to finish that book. So I always know how old the book is because of my daughter. But it is a book that I'm trying to figure out if I want to re-release it. But has it served its purpose? That's what I'm trying to figure out. If I were to re-release it, do I need to update it? Because I did discover that, sorry, that there were some things in there that were not completely accurate, because when you interview people, people can only tell you what they remember. But it wasn't bad stuff. So would I update it? I don't know. I've thought about it several times. I've even thought about making it an ebook. But it's 23 years old, so I don't know. I don't know. I go back and forth about it. If it's enough demand, I'll do it, but it's also expensive because it's 500 and something pages.
Audience, what do you think? Would you like an updated book, audience? Yes or no? Let us know. If you want an updated book, we've got Renee Shallon says, "Hi, Kathy. Nice to see you here this morning." Again, any other questions or comments through? Nico de Shields says, "Awesome, great conversation." But Charles, he says, "While I agree politics is the only way to serve Bermuda, we don't seem to be attracting our best and brightest to politics, and we need our best and brightest leading our country, people with vision." In saying that, there was a time when, business executives, lawyers, doctors did get into politics. Having worked in the IB sector, I don't know if, I'm not asking you to speak for others, but what would you say keeps people away?
Oh, totally. Like you can, particularly if you're in a leadership position, and that's the thing that people don't recognize. The higher you go up in a company, the less flexibility and freedom you actually have, because you become the face for the company. You become their brand. So they limit you in what you can do. Like in my last couple of years when I was in the industry, I have far less freedom. I probably wouldn't have even been allowed to do this show or if I did, it would be very scripted as to what I could say. So politics is definitely out of the question. I have been asked to sit on a couple of boards, like the BMA, some other boards, and I couldn't do it. So, once you become because I was a part of a global company as well, right? Some companies that are more local may be a bit different than if you are with a global company where you sort of become bland because no one wants the company to be tarnished by something you say or do as a politician or a speaker, or because nothing goes away anymore. Everything is recorded. If I made a mistake and said something, it will be blasted all over the place that Kathy Duffy of AIG at the time said this, and then that could potentially impact the stock price. So that's what people think about all the time in these large corporations, like what's going to impact my stock price, what's going to impact the brand. So that's why you see a lot of people that are not in politics and not in high profile roles outside of the companies, because you're restricted.
Well, yeah, and I get it. I mean, at the end of the day, people have families to support, and they have to do what they believe is in the best interest of that family. We did get some answers. Lydia Simmons and Suzanne Ingham and Nika De Shields, they would love an update of the book. So just putting it out there. Looking back now, though, what do you hope your journey, an example, say to the next generation about resilience, confidence, and perseverance?
Well, life is all about sharing. And, most people think that in order to be successful, you have to hoard everything. You have to be number one. You have to be this. You have to be that. In the world that we live in now, we have to share information because we truly live in an abundant world where there's enough for everybody. And when you share, your knowledge expands. My husband, son, and I were having a major conversation last night about how plants have consciousness, and we got on to the aspen tree, which you find in Aspen, Colorado, and in other places. But they are a community, most of them, and it's one root that connects it all, right? We, as human beings, are one root as well. Whatever action we take impacts somebody else in some way. So whatever we do, we have to remember it multiplies. And what is it that we want to multiply in this world? Do we want to multiply scarcity? Do we want to multiply grumpiness, like you were this morning, but that's okay? Do you want, so we have to make a decision about what it is that we want life to be all about. And I always come back to the fact that I know, as a person that has been in the forefront for so much of my life, that I would not have been in those positions had it not been for people that passed that baton back to me. And it's up to me to continue to pass that baton, to continue to give as much as I get, because then it multiplies. And life is definitely not about hoarding. It's about sharing.
Indeed. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for making time. I have so many things I think that we can touch on. But of course, we only have so much time. But I don't know if you have ever participated in the marathon and the parade or anything, but since it's Heritage Week and you're the first guest on, and we have the holiday coming this week, I want to change gears before we let you go, just to ask you, Bermuda Day coming up, what is your favorite thing about Bermudian heritage and Bermuda Day as we get ready to celebrate Bermuda this week?
Well, it's so interesting because I did the middle to end for the first time whenever it was, a couple of weeks ago. And I had no idea that it was treated almost like Bermuda Day. Like there were people the whole way in tents and had water and oranges and cheering you on. That is what I love about Bermuda. We are this beautiful, beautiful community. Small, we know each other. That can be a pain in the neck sometimes too, but it is such. I remember finishing that and feeling like I was on top of the world because of the outpouring of love and of like the families. I mean, multiple generations sitting together, cheering people on. Where else do you see that in the world? People I hadn't seen for years and years and years. Everyone's hugging each other. And that's what Bermuda Day and these like end-to-end walks, they remind us of this beautiful, beautiful community that we have here. And what better place to do it when the long tails are still out. You see the beautiful blue ocean. People are singing and dancing in the street. My favorite is this beautiful community, and we shouldn't forget it.
Indeed. I promise we'll let you go after this, but Charles had a very interesting, and he's right. I usually do ask the guests about the morning question. He says, Jamel, you didn't ask Kathy her thoughts on the yard sign. Would have allowed AIG to support any event with their sign. So he's right. I didn't ask you. I was focused on whether you were, dishwashed or hand washed.
I hate them. I hate them too, Jamel. So I didn't think that you were being grumpy. I do think it looks junky. I do think it's a distraction. And I don't know why we do that. What started that? That's my question. Like when I'm perturbed about something, I always try to figure out what was the trigger that started this, and why do we now feel that we have to outdo each other with them, because they're becoming more and more prolific. And as someone said, because I was listening in, they're so small. You can't read the things anyway. Yeah. So like, what is the point of it? Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I hate them. I agree.
Yeah. I will be writing the minister. I'm serious. But
yeah.
Ms. Duffy, thank you so much. Honestly, I can't thank you enough for making time, coming on and engaging. Please do not be a stranger. I would love to get you back on in the summer before your program starts at Bermuda College to specifically talk about that. So please think of us, keep us in mind, and I hope that we can help get that classroom full of people who have probably never been in the industry and maybe looking to pivot. So thank you once again, and look forward to having you back on.
Always here to serve, and thank you for the opportunity. Happy Bermuda Day, everyone, and remember, we are a community. Enjoy. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Catherine Duffy, folks. Wonderful conversation. Please, if you appreciate it, that discussion this morning, whether you are on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, X, or Instagram, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. We're going to take our final break. We'll come back, and we've got the keys to the past today. Keys to the past. Do not go anywhere. Stick with us.
Yeah, I don't got this. I'm gonna be fastest delivery around.
Oh, don't pay me enough for that,
Oh, no, sugar! Okay, who's the faster? Who's the faster than me? Talk to me. No more stress, just setbacks.
For over 70 years, Bermuda Pest Control has been protecting homes and businesses island-wide. We offer a full suite of services, including rodent control, termite fumigation, and general insect control and maintenance. Our team of experts will quickly and efficiently eliminate any pest problem you may have. With Bermuda Pest Control, you can enjoy a pest-free home in no time. We're committed to providing fast, reliable, and solution-driven services for our customers. It's what we've been doing since 1952. Call Bermuda Pest Control today and say goodbye to pests for good.
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BDC's Loan Guarantee Program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BDC, Bermuda Business starts here.
Bermuda, there's nothing like a home-cooked meal, especially when you can feed the whole family without stretching your wallet. With the affordable Bermuda basket, you'll find savings on everyday staples like rice, chicken, corn, and more. Everything you need to make a good meal for less. Shop the Bermuda basket at Lindo's, Marketplace, the Garden Market, and the English Market. Visit costofliving.gov.bm to see the full list of goods and start planning your meals. This is a message from the Ministry of Home Affairs.
Life moves fast, and so can the unexpected. When you insure your home, you need to know that your insurance company has your back. At Friesenbrook, let one of our friendly and professional agents give you that peace of mind. Because when you are covered, you are confident. Call us at 296-3600 or visit friesenbrook.bm to learn more.
Alrighty, welcome back. Thanks again to Mrs. Catherine Duffy for stopping by this morning. Awesome conversation, folks. Again, if you were streaming with us online, make sure you give us a like, love, follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Big shout out to our partners, the BAC group of companies, HSBC, Bermuda Medical House, Lindo's People's Pharmacy. And big love to Hot 1075 for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. Folks, it's daily playtime, but keys to the past in partnership with Curb. Here is today's clue. I want to see if you all can get it in even less time. Find this clue. Here we go. Here's your clue for today. 2 games, 1 name, a record set, a boy so young they won't forget. Across the seas, he paved the way, inspiring others far away. Find the road where legends meet and history runs beneath your feet. Oh, this is the first answer I know off the top of my head, folks. Go get it. You want me to read it again? I'll read it one more time. One more time. 2 games, 1 name, a record set. A boy so young they won't forget. Across the seas he paved the way, inspiring others far away. Find the road where legends meet and history runs beneath your feet. Go find the clue. Folks, you're not supposed to say the answers in the comments. You just go find the clue. Go find the key. All right. Find the key. I probably should have reminded you all not to say the answers, but that's the first one I got. But go get the key. See who's going to win this week's. You got to go find the key. All right. But let me wrap it up. It's final comments on the discussion this morning about the road signs. Bermuda is not the United States. Bermuda is not Canada. While we have great connections with many countries in the Caribbean, we are not even them. We are a unique island in the middle of the Atlantic. And something that makes us very different from most jurisdictions is that we are beautiful naturally. Not many enhancements needed. Let's keep it that way. If you, like me, have concerns about these signs, yard signs stuck all around our beautiful Bermuda, make your voice heard. Ensure that your members of parliament and representatives Know that you find issue with this. And let's make the changes happen. Enough is enough. As far as the discussion with Mrs. Duffy this morning, she was very direct and very honest. She told you all today she was pushed out of AIG. I understand how she feels. I was pushed out of Bermuda tourism. Of course, I didn't make quite the impact she made over the years. But that wasn't the end of her. She bounced back and she'll be teaching at Bermuda College later this year. She said so many things that many of us can utilize in our everyday life. And I think I would encourage anyone who tuned in today to share that conversation with young people who are just getting started in their careers. But most of all, to people who have years of experience in their field and success. Because humility is a reminder that no matter how good you are, no matter what you've accomplished, they can still take it away from you at any point. All right, let me give you some daily inspiration. And this is coming from the book that we were signing yesterday. This is from The Journey Within. And this quote right here, I may have done it before, but I'm going to do it again. Let death not be the only reminder. Yeah, let not death be the only reminder of how precious life is, especially when you're surrounded by love. Life is precious, folks. I really hope that as we grow, we understand that and respond to it. Respond to it. I'm going to let you all go now. So don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, HSBC Bermuda, Medical House Lindos, People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 107.5 for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamal Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.